literacy. It's not the user, it's the product. Let's give a round of welcome applause.
Thank you. And the slide is working as usual. So, if I'm asking you to think about the perfect reading experience for you, most of the time people will come up with something like this. So, a nice couch, a nice environment, it's chill, it's warm, it's perfect, and you're reading just on your own, a book. It can also be like this, like being in a park, like without anybody around, reading your favorite book, and quite chill too. Some of the people prefer to read in cafes, and for me, if you're asking me what is my perfect reading experience, it's something like this. The more, the merrier. Give me a train. The more crowded train, like the most crowded train as possible, and I will be able to read. But me in a really quiet and warm atmosphere, I will not. I will just sleep. So we all have different palettes. But most of the time, in fact, when you're reading a book, it's like when you're reading, it doesn't look like this at all because you're reading on screens. So reading in the book is less and less and less the case. So that's why we're going to discuss about readability on screens. So hi, I'm Damien, and I forgot my clicker today, so I will try to not move too much. I'm a career digital designer specialized in accessibility. I worked in Amsterdam for a company helping health researchers to gather information during health trial and all this kind of stuff. That's really interesting, I'm sure. And I use data products. And in general, it's not like a meetup, I try to never speak with people. So, let's talk about readability. And first, why? And the first reason why is because I have a permit. And this permit is saying I can do whatever I can. But the real reason is because reading is everything except an easy thing. We're doing this since like childhood. We learn this at home or at school. Like it's something we're doing all day long. We're doing this so much that we don't realize that we're doing this all day long. You cannot look at something, like for example, this room, without reading. It's automatic. Your brain is doing this all the time, and that's why advertisement is so efficient, because you're just reading everything. And one of the issues with this is the fact that the web is mainly text-based. The web is based on reading stuff. But text is not accessible. Like, it can be, but it's not per se accessible. So there is two reasons for that. The first reason is a group of impairments, which is the vision impairment, and like, it's in the name, the vision impairment. And the second one is cognitive impairment. I will not go in more details, but you already seen the same, exactly the same icon in the talk before, and you saw like the entire spectrum of icons for this one. So let's just focus on dyslexia. The reason why I try to focus on dyslexia is because first, almost 10%, depending on the country, is having a degree of dyslexia. So it's really depending on the environment, but more or less it's always the same kind of percentage. If I'm saying that it's really like depending sometimes, it's because dyslexia is based on the language you're speaking. You can be dyslexic also in one language and not in another one. That's a really weird stuff that your brain can do. And it's also depending on the language. For example, in Nordic languages like Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish, the rate of dyslexic people is higher, a bit more than 50% than, for example, in Spanish. So, depending a bit on the country, but more or less it's 10%. And dyslexia is most of the time not coming along because it's not something we call comorbidity, which is like ADHD, the autism spectrum disorder, and dyscalculia. So all this kind of stuff are most of the time always going together because it's targeting the same kind of areas in your brain. For example, ADHD people, half of them, most of them are having 1 degree of dyslexia. So something going most of the time together. But it's also not always in childhood. So you're not dyslexic? Good for you. Pray that it continues like this. Because it can change. You can have a stroke tomorrow. you will also just like growing old, and your brain will evolve, your brain will change, and all of this can also make some of these impairments appear, especially for example with age score. But at the same time, not so much good for you because like in a way good for you, sorry, because dyslexia is great. Because it's not only about reading. Dyslexia is also affecting the way you think, the way you're targeting a problem. Like when you want to solve a problem, like there is a lot of studies showing that people with dyslexia are finding other ways. Like it's not a linear way to approach a problem. So most of the time it's also creating creativity in your brain. So creativity related to readability, like there is all of these are working together. And if I'm also targeting dyslexia into this talk, it's because a study, like several studies are showing that like every time in accessibility, when you're working for people with having a specific kind of impairment, it's improving the experience for all of the users. So, with this in mind, how do we read? Like something we're doing together every day, but how do we read? First, it's not about letter, it's about sound. It's about music. When you read a text, the thing that you should like do in your brain is listen to the text. We're having a voice, reading out loud, in our head, the text. And this is basically how we read. Because reading is mainly a phonological process. So it's a process around the act of hearing. And it's depending a lot on the context and the environment. Because the context and the environment is having an impact on like our availability. Do we have a specific part of our brain available to read something? Can we hear ourselves reading it? Can we like have the energy to spend to really understand what the text is about? All of this is depending on the context and the environment. And especially, reading is not linear. So once you have like all these sounds in your head, to create these sounds, in fact, we're not reading letters per letters, because letters don't make sound by themselves. The first thing we're doing is reading by something we call saccades. So you're jumping. Your eyes, because they are like this kind of weird shape, so it's a sphere, but it's not really like a full and perfect sphere. So it's moving like this because of 6 different muscles. And because of this kind of like rotation movement, we cannot do a really straight line. So we're jumping from one part of a word or a paragraph to another one, like this. And between each of these saccades, we have something called fixation. So you're jumping into a group of letters to another group of letters, and because jumping is like taking from you a lot of energy, you need to stop at one point. This point is called fixation. Most of the time, it's a group of letters. And during the fixation, the idea is that everything, except the focus that we're looking at, start to be blurred, like this. And, yeah, changing the ratio of your slides like 2 minutes before, never working. And once you have like all these series of fixations, it's taking a lot of energy, as I said, from your brain. So you need something called a break. Most of the time, a break is your eye going from a fixation to a white part of your page. Because you need to analyze, you need to think about what you just get as different fixation, and for that, you need white space. White space is amazing. There is no such thing as too much white space. And basically, the size of the saccade and the duration of the fixation, this is the act of reading. And this is what's different when you're reading in a book or on a screen. This is also what's different depending on what is the intention for reading. Are you like taking the time to read a really philosophical text about something, or are you just looking for information? This will have an impact on the size of the saccade, but also the time of the fixation. More you are like taking time to your fixations, better is the reading. And when you're browsing on the website, when you're browsing on the internet, we're not spending a lot of time on this fixation. We're doing something which is like the exploratory reading pattern. Basically, it looks like this. So this is the first paragraph of the web guide in the version 2.1. So basically, it's what we should all know and heard. And if we start reading it, most of the time, like in eye tracking, what we can see is that people start to read at the top left, because it's a left to right language, going like through the paragraph, to understand what is the shape of the paragraph, getting, thanks to the fixation, the sense of few words, to just know what about the text, like the topic of the text, and then focusing on specific area. Like thanks to this first shape analyze, we can see that there is like something about the web, something about developing, something about shared standard, and something about goals. It's the first paragraph. We're looking for goals. People will like try to get a bit more fixations around like something interesting for them. For example, here something about W3C, processing cooperation. Then, because this was a lot of effort for your brain, we need a break. White space. White space is amazing. Before getting back to the paragraph, getting something about accessibility because, hey, yeah, this text is about accessibility. That would be interesting. And before getting somewhere else to get another information. Basically, on the internet, people don't care about your words. They are looking for keywords, they are looking to get information, but your sentence can be really nice, people will don't really care. Obviously, I'm going really quick and like doing generalization, but basically most of the people are using this kind of pattern when looking for information on websites. So, a huge choice. And the first thing we're doing, as I said, is analyzing the paragraph before we even start reading the texts. And that's where we can do a lot to improve readability. Because in this shape of a paragraph, you can make visible, right at the beginning, some keywords, some information, or just giving people a sense of what the text is about. You can push them to read way more than they would just do if it was like the web guide, first paragraph, nothing except a huge amount of text. And basically, as a conclusion for this presentation, we're not reading on a word-by-word manner. That's the reason why you can probably read this despite the misspelling. And this is because, one more time, we're not reading on the letter-by-letter manner. And if this is possible, it's because we're using something called letters identifying features. So basically, the identifying features are the ascendant and the descendant. So the bar for the Y, the one for the F, and all this kind of stuff. And this is what is allowing us to read efficiently. It's allowing us because we can like easily get the sense of the word just by looking at the shape. And that's one of the reasons why you can like easily identify easily as a word, because most of the letter identifying features in Western languages are on the top part of the letter, rather than, for example, features over there, which is way more difficult, because we have less information on the lower part. It's the case for identifying features out of the letter. It's also the case for accent, like something we call in French accents, so diacritics, so all these kind of weird signs on the top of letters. As I said, they are on the top of letters. So that's why when you're playing with letters, you can always like remove the end. It will impair the readability, but not as much as the top parts. And this is important because you can see a shape. And that's also why you're not reading in uppercase. Because if you're reading in uppercase, you don't see a shape. You see a mask, you see a big blob of text, which is not really identifiable compared to like the lowercase one. So if we're taking all of this together, we have, for example, problem. If you want to explain why you can read the second word as problem, so problem, but not the last one as problem, there is two explanations. The first one is, as I said, the shape. You can see the shape of the two first words and the last one. The two first words are more or less the same. The last one is already really different from the first one. But that's not the only thing, because, as I said, reading is about sound. And if you take the first one, you have two syllables, grow and blend. If you take the second one, you have also two syllables, for, bell. If you take the last one, you have something, like I don't know how to pronounce that, but like it's not working. It's not the same rhythm. And that's one of the reasons the second one is easily identifiable as problem, but not the last one. Sounds and shape. And just to finish on explaining how do we read, this is one of the eye tracking I'm using as a reference. It's on a really uninteresting article about the 9/11 Tribute Center in Manhattan. But what is interesting for me about this one is to see what is interesting people. They're reading the first half of each paragraph, like I think the first one, and the second one. And then if you take a look at what's the fixation, so blue dots are about, it's most of the time what is written in bold, what is the beginning of list items, and the beginning of paragraphs. And more they're going down on this page, less fixation and less interest there is in the article. So all of this can help us to increase the readability of our text on the web. But before showing an example on how do we increase the readability, there is one last thing we can see together, which is Readability 101. And the best way to learn about readability before applying it to the web industry is to look at something I found incredibly interesting, really. Airports. I love airports. Airports are amazing. First is stressing people. I love that. I love to see stressed people. That's really bad for them, but that's amazing to see how people react in stressed environments. If someone in a stressed environment is able to get the information, everybody can get the information. If we can provide an universal access to an information through a series of different ways, regardless the impairments, the disabilities, or the context, like in an airport, everything works. So, readability. The best way in an airport is to look at signs. Most of the time, it's always a bit like this. So you have icons showing information without having any clue of, for example, if you have any clue of the language, you can still get the information that at least this looks like a baggage and I may get my baggage somewhere. You can also get access to the information about your gates, and even if you don't understand about gates, you can see your tickets and see that there is C9 somewhere and be like, I can maybe not go in this direction. You can see also that the information is repeated in a way bigger way depending on the context. So instead of repeating a lot of information, because here it's obviously the gate C5, we're getting only one information on the sign gate C5, and with a really nice hierarchy of information, C5. And if you take a step back, you can see that there is a lot of consistency between the different signs and also the hierarchy of information. The C is always bigger than the word next to it. It's always C and a number, and the icon is exactly the same on both sides. So, from this, we can get something called the 4 C's of readability. The first one is continuity. So, this one is a bit an extreme. There is a lot of signs, and a lot of time the same signs on this picture. But the idea is that between each side you have a new gate which is coming and people joining the hallway. So first it's giving the information to the new people joining the hallway, but it's also helping people in the way to see that you are in the good direction. If you don't stress, it's just over there. So basically, few functions giving the same information to people so they can just stress less, and also giving information to people joining the battle. The second one, conspicuity. So conspicuity is a word I was not aware of in English for a lot of time, since I prepared this talk. And basically, it's the idea of being easily seen or noticeable. If you take a look at this picture, you will see what's the main hall of the Schiphol airport in Amsterdam. And basically, what I found interesting is the 2 train signs. Basically, there are blue, which is not the case of the old sign, all the other signs in the airports. So you can still see these signs quite nicely. You see that there are signs. But even if you are not able to see the one in the really far background about like the current platform, if you see the closest one, you can see the same information and deduct what's on the side. Because it's easily noticeable, because of the icon, because of the same information, and the principle of continuity that we see before. So conspicuity, easily noticeable, and it's attracting people attention. Consistency. A gate is a gate. A gate is not starting to be called a check bridge or a door like in the next hallway. So I know that it's not good for SEO, but keeping the same wording is allowing people to more easily find information. Because we are looking for shapes and for sounds. If you're talking about, like if you're saying something about a bathroom, it's better to use the word bathroom during the whole discussion. Because if you change the word for something else, people can just like lost track, because attention span, and also not understand sometimes the other words. So when you're using a word, keep using the same ones. And the last one, clarity. I would believe that the airport is trying to explain to us that you cannot transfer if you go on the left. It's quite big, but it's clear. Like, you cannot miss the information. It's on the side itself, transfer on the right, but there is also transfer being crossed with red and a sign saying you cannot transfer on the left. Clarity. So it's the same here. Remove everything that is not needed in your content. Just go straight to the point because it's improving people, like the ability of people to find information. And for these courses, I love that people like Paul Meixner, which is the person, like the designer who did all the signage in the stakeholder airport. So, how do we apply that to our web content? And now I'm going to be way quicker because I have half of my slides. First, Open Dyslexia. It's definitely not a solution. Open Dyslexia is a great project. First, it's a great project for a child to learn how to read and to read books. But it's not a great form to find information. And it's also a good solution when people think about this as a solution for them, but not when you impose this as a solution to dyslexia. Each brain is different. Open Dyslexia, not a solution. Because there is no one-fits-all solution. So what? The first thing is microtypography. The first thing is, as usual, a contrast is more than essential. But not too much contrast. That's one of the things with readability. We're always trying to get the best contrast ever, but when you have like people in the autistic spectrum, or when you have people with dyslexia, having too much contrast can create something like blur effects. But also when you don't have dyslexia or being on the autism spectrum, just go in a really quiet and dark room, put the full luminosity on your device and try to read something. You will see it's amazing. So for this reason, try to use shades of black and beige for background. Shade of black, it's amazing. It's something we lost in the transition between paper to screens. If some of you are designers and made something with paper one day, they would know that there is two kinds of blacks. There is black and there is black. The first one is black using black ink, but also all of the primary ink. And there is black using only the black ink. And basically, if you're using black ink and the three other primary colors, you're having something way more deep as a black than just something grayish, which is the black color. It's the same in the web. So if you're using 000, you got the black. If you're using something like 111 or this kind of color, you will have something closer to really dark gray, which can improve readability. But what can really improve readability is using tone of beige or yellowish for the colors. That's really improving most of the time the readability of people. Even if they don't feel it, most of the studies are asking people, like, what is the more readable for them? They will all answer like black, because it seems to be more readable. But when you look at the number of fixations, the size of the saccade, and the time they needed to access information, it's always quicker with something using gray and beige for backgrounds. Quicker, better. Also, font types can have an impact. First, sans serification is great. It's not because sans serification is better for our eyes, it's just that we're reading in sans serif font all the time. So we're just used to. And because we're used to, we're quicker to find information. So serif, not bad. It's basically technically as good. It's just that we're less and less used to. You want to get attention from people, use serif. You want people to be efficient, use sans serif. Also, don't use italic. Italic is a pain. First, because like some letters are definitely different from the rest of the typeface. Like A, for example. The shape of the letter A can be different depending on the font size, not the font family that you're using for the italic. So to avoid this kind of issues for your brain, to really detect the shape of the letter and the shape of the word itself, please don't use italic. There is other really good way to increase the access to the information and to show the emphasis on the information. The optimal font size, 14 points. And that's where I hate the Weka. The Weka is using points, which is something we're not using anymore at all. But 14 points, it's basically 19 pixels. So when you're a designer doing 16 pixels designs and you're already really happy about it because you know that your product manager will complain because it's too big, it's not big enough. Basically, after, so 18, 22, and 26, there is no huge improvement, especially between 2018 to the rest of the bigger font size. 18 is way better than 14, but basically 14 is already like, especially in this part, more readable than the other ones. And line spacing is, at least in the studies, not having any impact, or really few impact on readability. The time to read a text is exactly the same. The number of fixation is more or less the same. So even if we prefer most of the time having like really nice line spacing, line height, it's having really a few impacts on readability. So basically, size matters, spacing doesn't, except when it does. As I said, white space is your friend. There is no such thing as too much white space. We need resting space, which is giving you something like this. Like, most of the time, a line spacing of 1.4, 1.5 is a really nice one, but especially between paragraphs, it's where we need most of the white space. So 2 or more can be really good. Then, column width is always complex because people don't like when it's too narrow because you can struggle to like read a lot of texts. But at the same time, it's better because you know when to start and you get like a sense of progressing. So it's better for readability, better results in laboratory. But when you ask people about how does they feel, people always prefer wider texts because they tend to have the feeling that there is less text, there is less to read, and basically humans is not to be lazy. So wider, not always the most readable in the laboratory, but if you want to work on the perception of your content and to improve the user experience, sometimes not going towards like the readability can also help, because people will read. If people get the sense that there is way too much content, they will not, even if it's better. And so 75, 80 character per line, that's not something new, it's everywhere on the web. Bold and color, if you cannot use italic, you need something. Color when it's accessible, obviously. So not orange. And I love orange, but not orange. Underlining is great for links because it's a way to easily catch the link, but it's really bad for readability because most of the time it can like go through the descendants, so remove the decrease the readability and the recognition of different words from their meaning. No uppercase or small caps except in title. And this one is really important for me because I'm not an English native speaker, so I love to highlight text, to go in Google Translate and to get the meaning of the text translated into French because I'm French. And you should text. It's really important. They need to be able to translate it, or just a lot of users are using this as a way to follow their progress in the text. And this should be the case all the time. The last one for the micro typography is be specific for links. Links, because of the color, the underline, are one of the first things we're seeing in a paragraph. So if the only thing you know, thanks to a link in a paragraph, is that you need to learn more about it, you're a bit like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm trying to get more information about this paragraph, so just give me information. I need information. So please give information to users. Be specific for this. You will get access to the slides. So micro typography and layout. The first thing is the text alignment is super important. Please align on the left to right text and languages. Please, and not using justification or centered text. Because basically it's great justification. You know when it starts, you know when it ends. The only thing is the fact that the end part of a paragraph, like the right side in left to right languages, it's what we use to know where we are in a text. If you are reading with people around you and they're just asking you questions, you move your eyes somewhere out on the screen for 2 seconds, the main way to get back to information and where you were before is to know where you were in the paragraph using the shape. And that's where justification is awful. And I'm not even starting on reverse. So avoiding justification and centered text, except for title. Multicolumn can be, sorry for that, really confusing. So the same is the next part of the content on the left, is it on the paragraph? Always confusing, really be careful with spacing in this case. Information hierarchy, really important. So for this, please always start your titles with the most meaningful words. Because as we said before, as we saw on the eye tracking, people start on the top left in left to right languages. So the only word you know that people will look at, it's the first one in the title. So it should be meaningful. So starting the heading with the word carrying the most information, having a lot of title will help. And please, as on Wikipedia, offer an outline and a summary for relevant contents. Because that's the way that people will get a sense of, will I look up the information or not? And one of the really important ones, use HTML and use the semantic of HTML. I will just go a bit quicker before it's there, but one of the really important ones is also to offer 2 ways to access information. I told you before, dyslexic people are using another way to solve problems, and most of the time you cannot be sure on how people will navigate your websites. So, for example, on this one, you can see that there is a navigation on the top. One of the good things is to add, for example, later in the page, another way to access the most important information on your websites. Because sometimes you don't know what you're looking for in the navigation, but people already know they need to get access to it, and sometimes you need more context. So, prefer, sorry. The third one, on 4, is adopting an inclusive writing style. The first thing is active voice. When you don't know a language really well, active voice is always way better to scissors, my favorite tool ever. It's time to remove all the unneeded content. And when you remove half of your content, you can still remove a lot of it. We tend to write a lot, to say a lot. Look at what I did. I said a lot of unneeded stuff, because that's how the human brain is working. We love to say a lot about what we're doing. But you can always remove anything. Always remove a lot. So, in a really quick way, how to experiment with your projects. The first one, heat maps. Heat maps, especially the mood heat maps, are amazing. It's not perfect, it's not an eye tracking, but it's not as expensive as an eye tracking. And humans tend to use the mouse and to reduce the mouse on the screen. So when you have a lot of activity around a specific group of words, most of the time it's that people are interested. For example, here we have to scroll a bit the page to see that there is people interested to find a reseller partner, but they have to scroll a lot to get it. Still, they get the information, but there is maybe optimization. In this case, it's not taking this paragraph to the top, but maybe just to say to the top that you can find resellers and partners with a link, and explaining what the page is about, because there is a lot of content in it. Second thing, screen readers. Screen readers are amazing. Please use and test with screen readers. For example, in the one in macOS, so VoiceOver, which is not always great, but I love it. I love it a lot. You can, is it working? No. Yeah, you can see that basically, which is the web bottom. So a listing of all the content in your page separated from the content. For example, here, a list of all the headings. Really tremendous to see that your content is still understandable even without the context. Other thing you can do is calculate your readability scores. So there is a series of algorithms you can use and indicating you what is the level that a person should have to be able to read a text. This was a draft for a text of mine, which is really difficult to read. Surprising. But this can give you a lot of information. It's looking at the size of your sentences, the size of the words you're using, so the number of syllables in each word, to understand if it's something easy or not to use. And it's almost the end, some good examples. And please don't mind the green. The green is awful. But if you remove the green, you will see, everything is perfect. So the animation is only less than 1 second, and when you scroll, so I'm scrolling from one part to the other, but like the animation is really slow, really small. There is a huge title, there is lists, and there is an easy way to navigate on the side that you can, when you hover the elements, see what the page is about. That's really nice. You don't need a lot of information. You just need a better green. So this is the kind of like experiences which are really nice, full of content, but still digestible, still readable. In the same spirit, you have Offspring, which is coming back this summer, which did something with colors to just indicate the different sections, to group small content together, to have like a really nice heading structure. And when you just scroll, even without reading, you can get a sense of what the content is about. Because everything is consistent, everything is clear, and they're using as few content as possible. And that's it. So, merci beaucoup. Thanks for because German used to be my mother tongue, and I'm not even sure that Vielen Dank or Dankeschön is like. So please don't be German.
Any questions, or you can we can approach it afterwards? Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, great talk, thanks for that. I have a question. So I'm convinced I already want to get home and to down my website like completely. But that's obviously not very good. So where do I start? What is like the easiest and the most impactful thing I can do right now to make the